Friday with beer or Friday with a bottle of sparkling water. How are you doing, my lovely people? Thank you for tuning in. It is Friday. It is June the 4th. Good God, it's June already. Can you believe it? I mean, I know last month I was shocked it was May, but now I'm really shocked it's June. I mean, I think, it's again the lingering effects of lockdown because everything's blurred. But I swear to God, I was taking down the Christmas decorations last week. That's what it feels like. But that means that we're halfway through the year, which means we're halfway towards my favorite time of the year, which is, as I've told you before, October the 1st through to about the end of January. Excuse me, had a protein shake in it where it just went, hello. So anyway, if you are in the chat room, if you are watching, come say hello. See what, tell me what you've been up to. Today's show, all about E3, with some other things thrown in as the tweet with the little synopsis said. We obviously are a week tomorrow, technically, E3 starts, E3 Digital, and I'm signed up. I'm not going to be hosting any of the streams. Raypad's in the house. See, this is what happens when I actually remember to put the fucking Twitch stream on, which I didn't do last week, and obviously the week before I disabled because of the internet problem. So apologies to the Twitch viewers, and thank you for coming back. And Ray, you are right. It's a very nice get on Konate for Liverpool. He's our new central defender. France under 23, big, powerful lad. Hopefully he won't be as injury prone this season. But yes, we've got some defensive strength in depth. But yeah, we still need at least two more signings. And I'm thinking Mbappe and maybe Harry Kane. That'd be nice. Because then we could just pay 6 fucking attackers. We can go full Pep. Just play 6 attackers. Anyway, I got obviously distracted because Ray is asking me about footy, and footy is something that I love. I will say commiserations to Ray for the Champions League final. And you know what? Let's just have that little chat because we're on the quiet side. Not many people are in yet. And let's get that out of the way. Oh, my God, Pep Guardiola, what the fudge hole were you thinking? I mean, this is a team that from sort of like January on was relentless. They tweaked their formula perfectly. They were an unstoppable machine. They twatted most teams, including Liverpool, when we were admittedly at our depths, but still have to, get the W by scoring the goals. And Man City did it. I mean, there was one or two, hiccups after the practically winning the title. Obviously, the FA Cup exit to Chelsea, and then I think they lost to Brighton or somebody. But yeah, to take a team that you just honed into this perfect machine of passing and grinding and scoring, and then fucking tweak it. Leave out Rodri. Leave out Fernandinho, who I can't stand, by the way. I think he's the dirtiest bastard player ever since, what's his name? De Jong, whatever his name is, the Dutch player. But yeah, to leave out one of your defensive linchpins and move Gundogan, who is, and again, I'm butchering the pronunciations, but who is like your joint top scorer, and he has to do now the defensive work against a team that's loaded on the counter attack, that has beaten you a couple of times. I mean, basically, and I tweeted this out last week, Pep went full Pep. He couldn't resist the tinker, and it bit him on the ass. And I will say, Ray is saying that Kevin De Bruyne wasn't playing well before he'd been tackled. But let's face it, that system was all over the shop. Sterling shouldn't have been on the pitch. They should have had Rodri in anchoring midfield, and they probably would have won by about 3 or 4 with KDB playing in his usual role. Horrible injury on him, by the way. Hope he's okay for the Euros because he's an outstanding player. But I got to say, congratulations to Chelsea. They did the job. They scored a lovely goal. And, they held Manchester City at arm's length the entire game. So congrats to my Chelsea friends. Obviously, Liverpool finished 3rd above Chelsea, which means that, we're also in the Champions League next season. So, yes, all sort of good things. So, yes, that's the footy taken care of. We do have the Euros coming up, the delayed Euros from last year, where Wales are playing second Euros in a row after never qualifying. We'd only qualified for the one World Cup before that in like 1950 something, I think, and now we're on a second one in a row, and it'll be tough. Maybe we'll get a surprise, pull a surprise, but I don't see us doing too much, unfortunately. And yes, England does have 12 right backs. Ray is on fire with his football comments today. England are down to 3 right backs now because TAA, Trent Alexander-Arnold, pulled a thigh muscle or tore a thigh muscle and is out for 6 weeks. And I got to say, the selfish part of me is good. He can stay home, recover, and be on all cylinders for Liverpool next year when we come after Chelsea and Manchester City with regards to getting our Premier League title back and maybe doing some more European damage. And yes, England does have some right backs. We know that. Anyway, so what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about E3, of course, because E3 is coming. E3 will be here a week tomorrow, and we have the full list of all the various shows, roundtables, press conferences, all that fun stuff, all the stuff that, back in the day, I would slog my fat ass down to, various aspects of downtown LA and, obscenely early in the morning, especially for the Microsoft one. This was before I realized, I could just stay at home in my pajamas, have breakfast and watch on TV or stream it, which is so much better. Don't miss that aspect. But I'm looking forward to it. There's going to be a lot of good stuff announced. There's a lot of interesting things that are on the bubble, on the cusp. Some stuff has been leaked, so we'll see how that goes. So let's talk about the schedule. There's it starts on, I can't believe it starts on Saturday. I mean, I remember, and I think, Ray will back me up here, for a lot of us in the industry, the Saturday of E3 was sacrosanct. You didn't have your events. You didn't have your press conferences or anything like that. You had them on the Sunday, fine. Bethesda had a couple on the Sunday. But Saturday was all about B4. B4 was a wonderful industry drink up where everybody got to see each other and hang out before the madness of the following week. It was held by 47 Communications, great PR agency. And this will obviously be the second year without it. I miss those guys. I miss going to see everybody, people like Ray, and lots of other people like the Game Informer crew or people from the East Coast who I'd rarely see, and just be able to sit, have a drink, catch up, people I've known for 20 odd years. And yeah, I hope next year we can get back to a B4 because, we'll all be vaccinated and, hopefully the pandemic will be dying down here in the US. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a lot longer in a lot of other countries, but obviously this is where we need to get vaccines out to everybody. But yeah, I'm going to miss B4, but B4 was the Saturday. B4 was the Saturday afternoon, and then generally the Saturday evening, we would all go out for dinner. And then the next day we'd wake up a little bit hungover, but all good, and go off to meet everybody at Bethesda. Now, Bethesda's not happening, this year's merger with Microsoft. So that's going to be interesting as well. So let me talk to you about the schedule. On Saturday, June 12th, a week tomorrow, we have Ubisoft and we have Gearbox. Now, what's Ubisoft going to talk about? Well, Assassin's Creed, probably. We know Far Cry 6, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So what's happened this week with regards to their game narrative director coming out and saying it is going to be a very political game. And I'm actually down with that. I'm happy to see politics in games as long as they, as long as it's not necessarily, it's kind of balanced and, lets you play the way you want to play. Yeah, so they'll talk about that. They will talk about Assassin's Creed, Far Cry. We're going to get a new Rainbow Six game. And look, I've said this before. This is, Rainbow Six is great and all. It would be so nice if they just redid Rainbow Six and Rogue Spear and just got them out there. super graphics engines, make them co-op, fine. But those are the games. Those are the games I would love to see. There will also be a Gearbox one. Now, this is interesting because Gearbox necessarily, has never done press conferences before, but obviously now everybody has to. And the one big takeaway, the one big leak, if you will, from this that's got my curiosity going, is the Marvel XCOM game. That's right. Gearbox is doing an XCOM game in the Marvel universe. So it's basically tactical RTS, turn-based RTS. Turn-based strategy game. If you followed and played the excellent XCOM series, and it's going to be Marvel, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, we've had some similar sort of like squad-based Marvel games. Ultimate Alliance series has obviously been the major one, and then we've seen them on the iPad with the various Marvel games, Future Fight, and a couple of others. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I really am looking forward to seeing what they have. I'm a big fan of the Marvel movies and the comics, and seeing a new spin on the games would be very welcome, especially after Avengers, the Avengers Marvel game from Square Enix. So Marvel needs a little in the game space. Which leads us. So that's my exciting one for the first day. The Marvel XCOM game. I'm looking forward to seeing what Ubisoft has to say. They'll probably also talk about their, free-to-play versions of Assassin's Creed and The Division and everything else. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting first day. High-ranting Greek gamer, I will answer your question in a minute. I just want to get through all the E3 stuff. How are you doing, Zach? Good to see you. All right, so the big one, the 800,000-pound gorilla, or the couple of $1 billion gorilla, is the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. As I've said before, no turkey wings this year, or turkey legs, so I'm going to have to go buy some, stick them in my air fryer, get my hold on. I have this from E3 a couple of years ago. There you go. The Elder Scrolls Tankard. So I will drop a turkey leg in a drumstick in my air fryer. I will fill this full of, I was going to say beer, but I'm not really drinking that much anymore. So I might have to just fill it full of kombucha because it's good for my gut when I'm old. And yeah, I'm going to sit down and watch that. And obviously, everybody's wondering, are we going to see Starfield? The smart money is, yes, we're going to see it, but it won't come out this year still. Unless Microsoft has said, oh, we're putting a shit ton of resources behind this. But I don't think it's going to be coming this year. But Starfield is the big one. Microsoft are going to want to trumpet Bethesda and say, look, this is what we bought. Boom, here is Starfield. It'll probably come at the very end of the presentation. Todd Howard will come out and he'll say, Starfield. Da, da, da. And one of the reasons I'm more excited about Starfield than ever, I mean, notwithstanding Todd's and his team's track record with the Fallout series and Elder Scrolls, we won't talk about Fallout 76, is I read a piece today that compared it to Mass Effect. And that got me tingly because obviously, yeah, I'll talk about Mass Effect Trilogy, Remastered, Legendary Edition in a minute because I'll give you my ongoing update. But the idea that this is going to be another massive character-driven space opera is just so right up my alley. I mean, especially now after playing, falling back in love with the ME trilogy. So yes, Starfield, I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to say. I'm hoping that we get to see some gameplay and we have several minutes of really selling us on this. And then they can turn around and say, oh, by the way, it's coming out in 18 months. Fine. Happy camper. If they turn around and say it's coming out this year, it'll be like, what the fuck? You know what they will say? Xbox and PC exclusive. That's what it's going to be. It's a system seller. And Microsoft doesn't have too many system sellers right now. We know that they have Halo. We know that they have Gears of War, but they need additional system sellers, which is why they went and plonked the big bucks down on Bethesda. With regards to Microsoft themselves, I'm holding out hope that we will see another Fable. We will probably see more on Halo. We'll see Forza. We'll see the regular ones. We'll probably see some stuff from EA. We'll see all the various third-party bits and bobs. But if I could take away two things from that event, my two must-haves, just me being me, it is Starfield. Some really good info on Starfield, and Fable. A new Fable would be great. We know it's coming. We know people are working on it. I mean, I think additionally, Bethesda may bring out something like, oh, by the way, it's been X amount of time since the Elder Scrolls has had a big game. So guess what? We're going to announce this one as well. They won't release Starfield and Elder Scrolls or another Fallout game in the same quarter. It's cannibalization. They do want to go to have these three different franchises going, absolutely. But yeah, I think we might see a teaser for the Elder Scrolls 6 or Skyrim 2, Fusro-Da Boogaloo. And D. Night Walker just echoed my thoughts in the chat with, don't worry, we're working on it. That's all they need to see. And I'm with you. So what else is on the Sunday? Square Enix presents. Now, this is something, to be honest with you, I normally sleep through because Square Enix's games, and I have a long and checkered history. There's some things I've liked. I mean, obviously, Crystal Dynamics stuff. The Tomb Raider reboot was one of my favorite games. They've had stuff like Sleeping Dogs. But then, there's the heavily JRPG focused stuff that is just not my cup of tea, and I admit it. And then, Avengers. Avengers still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. We are going to hear about Black Panther, the War for Wakanda expansion for Avengers, but I don't know how interested I'm going to be because I've looked at the Hawkeye expansion. It's just a dud of a game. It's a chore of a game. I mean, when I can go back and replay a game like Cyberpunk several times over and still find new stuff and be enthralled and sucked in and just repeat some of the missions just to do them a little differently. And then I go back to a game like Avengers and I'm like, I don't want to play this again just to level everybody up. I'm so fucking bored by it. That's a damning state of affairs, especially as you know that I am a huge Marvel fan. So we will see how it goes. We will see what happens with regards to what else they're going to talk about. There's a new Platinum Games thing, Babylon's Fall, Life is Strange True Colors, and the remastered Life is Strange collection. Again, not really something that's going to grab me by my particular cojones, but we'll see. We'll see. Hold on a second. I just want to go to my channel and boom, and there you go. All right. What else are we looking at on the E3 schedule? That's it. So that's it for the Sunday. Couple of big ones. Be interesting to see what's what. Monday is when things really sort of like get hefty. That would be that would normally be the day of the big press conferences. That's when we'd have Microsoft and Sony, and we'd have Activision, we'd have EA, and we'd have Ubisoft. They'd generally all be condensed into that day, with the show starting on Tuesday. Not so much anymore. Capcom and Take-Two have their whole little thing. By the way, I'm reading the list from Polygon here because it's a really great list that they've compiled of what's happening, when's it happening, and it's perfect for planning. So a lot of people love Capcom. Resident Evil Village has come out. A lot of people are loving that. Lady Dimitrescu, I think her name is, the 19-foot vampire monster lady. I have not been a Resident Evil fan in the longest time. Okay, let me just boom, boom, boom. Sorry about that. Oh, there you go. Sorry, somebody's decided to just jump in the chat room and just go, how many beers? How many beers? I'm like, it's my last name. Look it up. Dumbass. So, yes, whoever that person is, they're now on timeout. Anyway, let me get back to the schedule, and feel free to jump in with with some more questions. I will save them all for the end of this. So yeah, Capcom and Take-Two are the big ones. I'm not really fussed about Capcom. Take-Two will be interesting. Will we see something from Rockstar? Obviously, they're still busy making money hand over fist with GTA Online. GTA 5 is still selling like crazy. Red Dead Redemption Online's picking up, and Red Dead Redemption 2 is still going like gangbusters. So will we see? Will they turn up on the Monday and say, "Well, this is us. We are Take-Two. This is what we're going to show you, Rockstar Games." And that's it. I mean, that's a great way to just own the show, because everybody else will just go, "What the fuck?" Because whatever Rockstar's working on, it's going to be huge. Tuesday. Now, this is the bizarre thing for me. Tuesday, June the 15th, is technically the last day of E3 2021, when in all other years, that Tuesday would have been the first day of E3. I would have got down to the convention center, got my badge, gone to my first couple of appointments, found somewhere to sit, maybe hung out with the Take This people and see how they're doing. A couple of years ago, I worked their merch booth for a morning. But yeah, this will basically be the official last day of E3, which just seems like totally surreal. And on the last day is Nintendo Direct and Treehouse Live. Are they going to announce the Switch Pro? There were leaks this week from Europe that the Switch Pro could cost upwards of $400 to $500. Obviously, people have been talking about the technical specifications and trying to figure out what's what. They probably will announce it. They want to have another big Christmas, which will make this Christmas actually this holiday season very interesting, because it should be the first one where Microsoft and Sony can actually get their consoles into stores, for the big restock. So they should actually be able to take care of demand this holiday season. Then Nintendo's going to come along and say, well, guess what? Here we have the Switch Pro. The best title I saw for it was the Super Nintendo Switch. Now, if it's a Super Nintendo looking Switch with a port on the back for the cartridges, sign me up. I might even buy that one. So yeah, I don't know what they're going to talk about. I mean, there will be a Mario game, a Zelda game, Super Smash Brothers. Your guess is as good as mine. Come on, tune in in the comments. You're being very, very quiet. It's really quite disturbing. Unless, of course, the feed has gone down. No, the feed is still going. That's good. Touch wood, the internet issues have been shut down. Looks like we're good, because I'm still hardwired on this PC. So I'm getting almost a gig a second on my streams, which is great. My mesh network still does not want to work with Spectrum. So Eero and actually Spectrum are talking to each other, trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Bandai Namco will also have a showcase, and they haven't really talked about what they're going to talk about. And I'm guessing they won't be talking about a sequel to the Fast and Furious game they did last year. Nintendo is going to Nintendo, and Nintendo fanboys are going to lose their minds over it. Yep, fanboys, fangirls, Nintendo fans. They do like their Nintendo. Obviously, there are other things that we will hear about. Fortnite will do something probably at the Xbox thing where they'll announce 500,000 new skins, like a whole new, I don't know, Weekend at Bernie's set of skins, considering they keep on revisiting the 80s as best they can. Or maybe the Breakfast Club while we're on an Andrew McCarthy trip. He wasn't in that, was he? He was in St. Elmo's Fire. He was. Oh, Pretty in Pink. Who doesn't want to play as Blaine? Yes, these are the movies of my youth. The John Hughes movies. Gotta say, man was a god. Then Wednesday, everybody has the day off, apparently. Everybody's going to recover, because obviously nobody will be needing painkillers for the headaches or the swollen feet or, the Axe deodorant overdose that inherently happens every E3, because, people think, oh, I don't have to bathe. I'm just going to spray myself with Axe deodorant. Thursday, July 22nd is EA Play Live, and that'll be EA's talking about Battlefield. We'll probably see some updates for Star Wars Squadrons. Will they announce some more BioWare stuff? Will we get Dragon Age Remastered? Who knows? But it's going to be an exciting week. It's going to be a fun week. What I'm going to share with you now is what I'm going to do for E3 week. So, first of all, the bad news. The bad news is there will be no stream next week, next Friday. And I'll tell you for why. I'm going to Disneyland. That's right. The wife has booked us 2 days at Disneyland. We're going to stay at a hotel near the resort, even though it's only a 90-minute drive from here. But we are going to stay. The first day on the Thursday, we're going to go to Disneyland for the day. The following day, we're going to go to California Adventure, which means I am going to finally get to go and do Galaxy's Edge. I'm gonna. My inner 7-year-old is just squealing. I know it's sad that when a 50-year-old man is like going, but just being able to walk around the Star Wars part of Disneyland is going to be amazing. There's unconfirmed reports that I might be partaking in the build a lightsaber thing, because apparently friends have said that they've done it and they said it's well worth it and it's fun. If I do manage to do that, I will be trying to build the Darksaber, because that's the one I want. I've got Luke's saber. I don't really want Darth Maul's or Kylo Ren's or Vader's or Kenobi's. I want a Darksaber. That is the coolest fucking lightsaber I've seen in years. So yes, I'm going to try and build that. And then, of course, on the Friday, we're going to go to California Adventure. One of the reasons with regards to the timing of us going is the following day, on the 15th, California opens up. Mask restrictions are loosened. Restaurants can go back to capacity. It's rumored Disneyland is going to up its capacity because it's at 35% right now, which is going to be great for, not standing in long lines and experiencing good stuff. But the Friday, we're going to go to California Adventure and the Avengers Campus, which is ticking another huge box for somebody who was, 7, 8, 9 years of age, or, even through my teenage years, was reading the whatever Marvel comics I could get hold of. And, the local news agents where I lived, that you couldn't get 3 consecutive months of the same Marvel comic. It was just, they were just taking what they could get. And so, there's so much that I'm going to look forward to there. The Spider-Man web ride is going to be fun. The animatronic Spider-Man thing is supposed to be amazing. The Doctor Strange thing, the fact that you can see the Avengers building, but you can't go behind it because apparently they're building a new ride for next year. So it's going to be amazing, so that means I am not going to be streaming next Friday. What I am thinking of doing is, if I can do it properly, the wife's promised a video, me and talking about some stuff and doing some reviews that I'm going to try and upload, edit together and upload to the YouTube channel. It'll be my first travelogue. So it may just be me going, I built a Darksaber, or ooh, blue milk, or my wife enjoying some of the gluten-free treats in the cantina. But yeah, that's going to be fun. And to make up for that, I'm going to be streaming every day of E3. Once the press conferences and everything has finished each day, so about probably 4 or 5 o'clock at the latest Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to stream. Ooh, excuse me. Wow, that was a bit rude. I'm going to stream every day. I'm going to watch every single one. I'm going to formulate my thoughts. I'm not going to live snark like I used to do. I'm going to save it all. I'm going to talk about it. I'll be snarky when it needs to be snarky. I'll be disappointed when I need to be disappointed, or when I am. And then I'm also just going to be happy when I see stuff that I really like. And so that means you are going to get 5 days: Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and the Thursday after the EA thing. You've got 5 days of me next week. And nothing's going to be held back. I'm not putting stuff just on Patreon and then, doing it that way. I just want you guys to have the raw, unfiltered thoughts every day. And then I may not stream on the following Friday either, because I may just be hoarse from laryngitis. But yeah, that's my plan for E3. I'm kind of excited about it. I think it's going to be interesting. Obviously, yeah, I've registered my account with the entertainment, the E3 website, got my password and all that fun stuff. It'll be interesting to see how their system holds up, because obviously some of the things like Microsoft Bethesda will be on Twitch and everything else, so you'll be able to see them everywhere. But then a lot of the stuff will be through the E3 portal. That's my understanding. So if you want to watch it live, you're going to have to register and explore. So I'm going to do that as well, and I will talk about my experiences with the E3 app and with the E3 website each day. And here's hoping that it's all nice and solid. Fingers crossed, because I don't want anybody to fail. I want it to work. I want people to do the best that they can. I want us to have some amazing games to drool about, games that we can hopefully all look forward to over the next 18 months, because that's what E3 is all about. And yes, there will be no sushi at Michael Pachter's Wedbush Mixer. I might just have to call him just to have him on video while I eat a spicy tuna roll and have a glass of scotch with him, because God, I miss that man. I will not see any of my X-Game Trailers peeps like Shane or the crews who moved over to Epic, who've moved on to other companies. I will not be able to see my good friends at Bethesda PR or various other PR agencies, and just journos from San Francisco who I've worked with. I will not see them, and that will fucking suck. But we get through this, and next year we can all be back doing the same thing. So yeah. So let's go to questions. And now I'm just going to go to this one, because this one's just, do I still drink malt whiskey with Michael Pachter? I haven't had a malt whiskey with Michael Pachter in coming up on 2 years, which sucks, because obviously last year we had no E3, and before that I would have had the Christmas before, when perhaps we were normally going to hang out on their boat. I was having some more chest issues, and I was in for more exploratory surgery, which, by the way, this time, that was it, last week was the 12-month anniversary of the bypass, and touch wood, I'm still kicking. I haven't had to set foot in a hospital or spend a night in a hospital in over a year, which, considering what's happened over the last 4 years, is a fucking miracle. So thanks to my doctors, my cardiologists, and Huntington Hospital, I'm here. I'm alive, still fat, but I'm still going because of those lovely people. But I will drink with Michael Pachter again. We're both vaccinated, and so maybe we can find time this summer to catch up. I have a bottle I've been waiting to open when I'm with him. It's a bottle of Penderyn I brought back from Wales last February, and so I will do that. I will open a bottle of Penderyn with him, and we will have some. So yes, great question, Renting Greek Gamer. Let me see. Mellowak, do I have one of them press passy type things? No, I don't. I don't qualify as press because, again, I only started doing the streaming thing back, at the start of this year, and I don't quite qualify as a streamer influencer yet. So I didn't really want to get the streamer pass because I wasn't going to be streaming things. So no, I'm just going to have the fan experience along with everybody else. I'm going to see what you guys see from your perspective. And it's going to be interesting, because if I don't like the way the E3 site treats the fans, I'll be fucking pissed. I may not want to see fans at E3 when it actually happens. I think, as I've said before, I think there should be industry days and there should be fan days. But it doesn't mean I don't want to. That I'm going to be okay with fans having to deal with shoddy shit. So there you go. Next question. Another one from Malawak. Do you get the feeling PlayStation is waiting out Nintendo to avoid another 2017? I'm guessing you are talking about Sony just going quiet. They'll probably have their state of play whenever. But yeah, Sony have obviously stepped away. And look, I think Sony have they do have, we do have concerns with Sony. They think this, a lot of people are saying this could be the PS3 all over again, where they're focusing on less titles, but higher quality titles to their detriment. And again, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. People got up in arms because people were saying, if you want a console with games, get the Xbox. If you want a console with exclusives, you get the PlayStation. And that still is the case. I think PlayStation are probably going to do something over the summer. There won't be a price drop. There won't be a new version of the PS5. What they've got to do is say the PS5 will be available everywhere because we've managed to sort out our supply chain issues, and here are the fucking games. They've got to come with some big games. I actually don't think they're avoiding Nintendo. I think they're avoiding Microsoft. I think that Microsoft this time round will have such a huge E3 presence. And let me just throw this back into question. What if the Microsoft press conference, after we've had, here's Starfield, and here's Fable for the likes of me, and here, we're working on the Elder Scrolls 6. What happens if they have that last teaser trailer? That turns out to be GTA 6. Because Microsoft is slapping the money out. They really are. I'm not saying it would be an exclusive, but it might have some exclusive console content that you don't get on PS5. Vice versa. Sony might be working with Take-Two. Take-Two. And saying things like, here's GTA 6, and you'll have exclusive content on this. That's going to be great for PlayStation. That's a unit shifter. But right now, PlayStation doesn't have that many unit shifters. Okay, let's go back up to the Ranting Greek Gamer and his question. Hello, Mr. Beer. What's your opinion about Sony releasing its previous PS5 exclusives to the PS4, especially when Jim Ryan said he believed in generations last year? I think they have to do this because the PS5 isn't selling. It's selling out, but it's not shifting the numbers because people can't get hold of it. It has, it's still selling exceptionally well, and it's selling out when it's out. But there's still an installed base of PS4 owners and who are hungry for software. I still have my PS4. And I think that's the problem. Generation saying, we believe in generations and exclusivity and, gatekeeping that particular section. That's all well and good. But if you can't back it up with a fucking software, and right now they're not backing it up with the fucking software, what are you going to do? You're still going to need the money coming through. So you're going to say, all right, we're going to do this with we'll do this with PS4 as well. So I think it's great. I mean, they did support PS3 for a little bit of time after the fact because the ending of the PS3, as I've said to you before, was so strong that they could continue to support it. But I mean, PS5 and PS4, different PCs in a box. That's what they are. It's easier to port backwards and dumb stuff down. So thank you for your question. Let's get back down to the stream. Pontus Rodling's in the house. Welsh Dragon 888. Ooh. If you could revive one dormant rare Xbox Bethesda IP, so I'm guessing this is one of each. Oh my God. All right. So rare. I'm going back pre-rare. I'm going back to Ultimate Play the Game. And I would like to have the Saberwolf franchise. Saberwolf, Underworld, and Nightlaw. Redone for the 21st century on kick-ass PC and computer. I know it was part of the Rare multi-pack for Xbox. Was it Xbox One or 360, whatever it was? And it was fun to play those games in their original versions, and you can get them on emulation as well. But I would like to see the Saberwolf trilogy back. Love to see that. I also would love to see them do Attic Attack, because they could do something really fucking creepy with Attic Attack, which would be great. With regards to Xbox, what dormant IP? Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark should come back. It's also, I think it's a rare one as well, isn't it? So that'll be good. Bethesda. I think Bethesda's just doing the what they're doing. I mean, they've got some really exciting, great IPs. I mean, Doom's doing great. Obviously, I'd love a new Fallout game, new Elder Scrolls game, standalones, not MMOs. So yeah, those are my answers. The rare one though. Good question. Let's see. Intel Equus. Which game am I looking forward to the most? Starfield. I think Starfield is probably right up there. I'm looking forward to being surprised. I would like to be surprised this year. I would like something to come out where it's like, oh, fuck, I didn't know that. I want the hackles at the back of my neck to go, swing. And like I said, if I got a Fable game, yes, I'd be happy with that. I think Starfield might just do it for me, but it would be really, really nice just to have some sort of left field blown away that isn't a Halo, a Forza, Gran Turismo, a Ratchet and Clank, a Mario game. It would be nice to, it would be fantastic if Rockstar said they were working on something. Suicide Squad. Looking forward to that. Maybe we'll see some more of that. Actually, I didn't talk about Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers. When is Warner Brothers doing? Oh, hang on. Warner Brothers is Sunday, June the 13th. Yeah, they're doing something. So I forgot to talk about Warner Brothers. Back 4 Blood. That's coming out. Looks fucking amazing. Because, Left 4 Dead, such a great franchise. And this is the spiritual successor, so I'm down with that. I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got on the DC slate, and I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad and that take on Suicide Squad. Yeah. That's what I'm really looking forward to. Who else is there? Yeah, so let's see. Other questions. D. Knight Walker, what's my thoughts on manga outselling comics in the US? I really don't have any thoughts on it because I think, there's a huge market for the anime stuff. I think traditional comic books, it's not my market. I love the traditional comic book stuff. I always get the graphic novels, or I got the subscription. So I don't know. I think it's been coming because I noticed for the longest time, places like Barnes and Noble and before them Borders, the bookstores, their graphic novel sections were getting smaller. Of the Vertigo stuff, the Marvel, the DC. They were getting smaller and smaller, and you were seeing more and more anime stuff because obviously it's appealing to a wider audience, a younger audience. I don't know what it is, and that to me always felt a little bit unfair because people are less likely to get into these things if they see less of them out there. But I'm wondering, is it because that Marvel movies and TV shows and DC comics and movies and TV shows, are they not filling a gap and creating a new audience? Are they just satiating that particular audience who then feel they don't need to go out and get the comic books? Which, if that's the case, that's a fucking tragedy because there's so many great comic books. And look, I want to see everybody selling all sides of it. I want them all to be happy. I want all the fans to read as much as they can and just enjoy them. Okay, back down. All right. Disturbed Swan. I still think Microsoft has a lot of catching up to do when it comes to one-player AAA games. Not going to disagree. Not released one since Gears 5, which was terrible. PS5 had some great exclusives. Again, Microsoft have been very heavy to push Xbox Live and the Games Pass. But I think they're learning. I think that's one of the reasons they acquired Bethesda, because yes, while Bethesda has Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76, Bethesda does the big single-player experience. And to have those come into your world, into your library, into your armory, if you will, that's huge. So I think Microsoft is working on it. They've recognized it, and they've got a couple of companies who are available, who bring stuff to the party and are already, and are working on stuff ready to go. Oh, all right. Ooh, Raypad. Interesting. Dark Horse Comics is starting a gaming division. I think it's great. They've got some fantastic stuff. I think it's something more that they'll probably do. Without reading it on all, so bear with me. Oh, there you go. Dark Horse starts a game division to turn its famous comics into AAA games. Yeah. So Dark Horse, so it's as I thought. I think it's great, but it's basically a view to working with developers, licensing their products that, we can get like a Hellraiser, or Sin City or whatever. I think that's great. We will, it's going to be a while. It's going to be interesting who they partner with, who's going to put the investment in for something that's going to take 3 to 5 years to develop. I think we'll probably see some mobile games banged out pretty quickly, but hey, it'll be great. Hopefully it'll be great. It's a good market to go into, especially if they tie it in. As long as they're the quality of the Guillermo del Toro Hellboy movies, and not the one that David Harbour was in 2 years ago. That was just atrocious. Here's hoping it was Robert Rodriguez's Sin City and not Sin City: A Dame to Die For. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. We're on a comic book trip now. Welsh Dragon. With the boom of Spider-Man and Arkham games, which heroes from DC and Marvel do you think could see success as standalone character game? I don't think it'll be too long before we have a Wonder Woman game. I think that's going to happen. I think we'll see it at some point. I mean, Superman is always because he's so powerful, it's really hard to create a game for him, which is why I think the Suicide Squad angle with regards to how they're tackling the DC universe is going to be very intriguing. We've had some good games. I mean, like I said, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, that trilogy, even though we've had a huge gap between them, and then the last one was Switch only. A lot of fun, great writing. I would love to have a new Deadpool game. I think the Deadpool game that came out a couple of years ago, I think I bought it on sale. It was fine. But if somebody wants to do a comic book game right, and this is Uncle Marcus's wish list, from my mouth to the ears of Marvel's game licensing division, Deadpool. Let's have a new Deadpool game. Let's make it, rated M, and let's have Ryan Reynolds voice it, because that's it. I mean, Ryan Reynolds will get probably one more Deadpool. They go in trilogies, and then they'll put it, mothball it, and we won't get it for a couple of years. Get him voicing. I don't care if he's reading the fucking dictionary to try and just cobble together a script. Let's get a great, bloody, gory, fourth wall bursting, fifth wall bursting, all the walls bursting Deadpool game with Ryan Reynolds. That'd be great. That would be so much fun. I'm a huge fan of Reynolds, and I'm a huge fan of, obviously, the 2 Deadpool movies. So there you go. That one would be great. I think we'll get a Wonder Woman game. It'll be interesting to see how the licensing deal for Avengers with Square Enix impacts all those mainstream characters, because we are getting, we're getting, we've had Black Widow and Iron Man, and we've got Black Panther. And if those, basically anybody who's an Avenger is off limits now because of that game, it really does move it down to slim pickings. Sony are doing great with the Spider-Man series. And that's great. But yeah, I mean, maybe a great X-Men game would be good. I mean, you look at some of the standalone ones that we've had over the years, the Wolverine game, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Oh, horrible. And I was reviewing that for somebody, and I played it all the way through. Very unsatisfying. Let's see. All right. I think I've just gone through all the questions, which is great. Now I am going to have to be reminded of what else I said I was going to talk about. Oh, I was going to talk about Mass Effect Trilogy, wasn't I? Because obviously I've been playing it a lot, and I finished ME2 at the beginning of the week and started on, I took a break and then started on ME3. And the longer I play this trilogy, regardless of the upgrades and the facial Ujima flips and everything, the longer I play it, the more I am convinced that as a gaming achievement, especially if you look at all three, play them, relatively back to back. It is without a doubt one of the greatest universes in either games, in entertainment and culture. It is one of the greatest universes. I'm not talking about Andromeda. They tried to do something different with Andromeda. It didn't work for whatever reason. But so far, Mass Effect is my favorite game of this year. And that's a damning indictment on a lot of games that you get now. But it goes back to that whole AAA single-player experience, and that there's not a lot of them around. And I'm just going through ME3, and I'm playing at my own pace, and all the DLCs unlocked, and I'm missing. It's funny, the pangs of I got through ME2 without losing any of my squad members. Got the full fucking roster. They were all loyal to me. I'd completed every side quest, and I was like, right. And then I forgot that when you jump into Mass Effect 3, I mean, some of them have been killed off screen. Some have been sent to a farm upstate. Yeah, it's a gut punch after spending X amount of time with some of these characters and then wondering, what the fuck? They were all alive. But it's 2 years later, or whatever it is, 3 years later, and Shepard's under house arrest, has been court-martialed. It's epic. Freaking epic. I just love it. So, yeah, I'm going through ME3. And, again, the tweaks, it's funny, the tweaks are kind of jarring at first with regards to the gameplay upgrades each time. Obviously, they've introduced more running and climbing of ladders, and they've streamlined the RPG element a little bit. Again, too much in my opinion. Like I said, I think Mass Effect 2 is always the sweet spot. The whole weapons mods thing, as opposed to just upgrading all your weapons and just having a set ones to compare which one's which. Now you have to fuck around with the individual mods, which I really have no truck with whatsoever. But again, still, storyline, characters, voice acting, the world, the universe. 2 thumbs up. All right, now I know why they call you Disturbed Swan. No, look, everybody's tastes are different, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe I should revisit it. Maybe I should play it on PC if it comes on a sale or something. I bought it on the PS4. Maybe it's much like games like Fallout New Vegas, which were buggy as fuck, and then got patched to infinity, and are now some of the best games of any generation on PC. And yes, Welsh Dragon also says that Resident Evil trilogy is right up there, and I can respect that. The first 3 Resident Evil games I liked in varying ways, and I can respect that universe. I just think that got done to death, and just jumped back and forth. And I have no idea where the Resident Evil universe sits now, with 5, which was horrible, 4, which was kind of like set in Spain, a little village, and we've got villages, and I don't know. I just okay. So obviously last week there were some technical issues where I forgot to switch on the Twitch stream. So those of you who missed the Twitch stream last week, or missed the stream in general and didn't go to YouTube to watch it, the fuck? What? So I just turn up and I entertain you happy minstrel style for a week, and if it's not on Twitch, you're not even going to go and look at the YouTube version? Shame. I did talk about the Friends reunion last week. Friends it's not even a guilty pleasure. I fucking love the show. I grew up. I was in my 20s when it launched, early 20s, and it just appealed to me. The idea of honestly living in New York was something that I always fantasized about anyway. But I was living in London, which wasn't too bad at the time. So yes, I watched it. I thought 50% of it was great. The behind the scenes stuff, some of the interviews I could have done without the talking heads. I could have done without James Corden. Could have done without the fashion show, especially when for the length of that particular show, we could have had interviews with the likes of Elliot Gould. Tom Selleck could have been there for more characters, actors who had been in there. Aisha Tyler was missing. Paul Rudd was missing. It would have been nice to find a way to include interviews with those guys. I know pandemics make things tricky, but the interesting stuff was the behind the scenes with the teams who made it, and the props, and then the anecdotes, and this, that, and the other. The rest of the stuff. And getting James Corden, I still love James Corden. I love him for Gavin and Stacey, and I always will. But oy vey, is he fucking annoying now. Now I know why the Brits wanted to ship him off to America. You can have him back now. He can do one more Gavin and Stacey, and then he can piss off. So, but yes, following up from that, Ray Pat says, "Oh, Matthew Perry made me sad." So yes, and I've said this before. Matthew Perry, the official story is he'd had dental work, so he was not feeling his best the day of the shoot. Emergency dental work. And unfortunately, if you've seen Matthew Perry on chat shows over the last couple of years, he's on Graham Norton a couple of years ago, and the speech slurring and everything is there. I mean, the guy had a problem with addiction, or he has a problem with addiction. He's an addict, and he's acknowledged this, and he's been to rehab. And he said that there are seasons of friends that he doesn't remember making because he was drunk or high. And that's going to have an effect on your brain. It's going to have an effect on your speech patterns, on your recognition. I mean, shit. I've never been an addict, touch wood, and never will be. But when I had the heart attack, I suffered brain trauma. And so I have issues with words. You will notice that sometimes I pause because I have to literally picture something in my head to make me remember a word. And my memory's shot on a lot of things. I was having a conversation with my wife yesterday, and she said, "Oh, do you remember that time we went to the Hollywood Bowl to see Star Wars live? We did that 9-10 years ago yesterday." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I've been to the Hollywood Bowl. I don't remember going to see Star Wars." And he said, "Oh, here's the pictures. Don't you remember? You said it was the best thing ever. They had the movie up on the big screen, and we had a little box and a picnic, and the orchestra was playing live, and you loved it." And I honestly can't remember it. And that happens when you have brain issues, whether it's medical trauma, whether it's addiction issues, the brain chemistry is messed with. So I've got a lot of love and respect for Matthew Perry. Chandler was one of my favorite characters. He was the nice guy. Yes, did they have issues that haven't aged well as we have, as a society, have gotten hopefully more inclusive and more aware of various issues? Yes. Sign of the times, totally. But yeah, I hope it's it's not too serious, and I hope he comes back and he's good. All right. Yeah, I think actually that's a t-shirt I need to get, or maybe a badge. Another way, let's see. I have my OG Xbox set up just to play Vice City. Do I have an old system set up to play one great game? I actually don't have any old systems set up right now, but I do have. I do have this right here. This is my launch PS3. And at some point, I am going to load it up again, and I'm just to play Infamous. I'm going to get it up and running, but it works. And again, this is the thing. I have my OG Xbox somewhere, either in here or in the garage. But how is it that we can talk about these games and and as games grow, the industry grows up and becomes more all powerful and all encompassing. This huge legacy and library of games are brought, are left to dwindle into the past because we want the bigger, new, shinier. Why aren't we having more access to these games via backwards compatibility, via emulation? I've said this before, I've said it, and I'll say it again. Microsoft and Sony, you're leaving money on the fucking counter. You're leaving it in there. You said people are saying, you know what, I'd pay for this, but they're not doing it. And let's face it, the success and the buzz around Mass Effect Legacy, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, only serves to prove my point in that there is a backlog of amazing games that should be remastered. And if they can't be remastered, they should at least be put on emulators and made available. Money for old rope. So, So PS Now has been great for Infamous, has it? Okay, well, I don't have PS Now. I don't have PS Now. Maybe I should at some point if I get a PS5. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to have to look into PS Now then, because Jonathan Carr is educating me on PS Now, so I'll have to have a look at it. Isn't that the streaming one, or is that the one, the subscription-based one? Anyway. This is a great comment from Welsh Dragon at 888. The gaming industry is so far behind in terms of retro. Imagine being told you cannot listen to the Beatles unless you own an original vinyl and have a 50-year-old player. Exactly that. We do. I mean, and look, I'm going to share a story with you. I do mock reviews from time to time, and I did one for EA a couple of years ago. I'm not going to talk about which game it was, but it involved me going down to EA Studios here in LA. And went outside, have some lunch. I'm walking back in. I'm walking down this corridor. And this corridor has artwork from all the EA games. Every fucking EA game. And I'm just standing there looking at it and talking to the EA rep. And I'm like, why aren't half these games around nowadays? Why did you focus on Need for Speed and where Road Rash got put away? Why do we have to have a Battlefield every year when we can't have a Urban Strike, Jungle Strike, and Desert Strike? Where's the classic versions of the football games and Madden and everything? Because you've made these games so authentic that you've lost a lot of players due to the joy that the simple kick around used to bring or throw around. And it's just they have no answer. And there are so many companies like that. I mean, look at Activision. Activision is Call of Duty. They don't do anything else. It's just sad. It'd be lovely if companies, and I do understand that companies go under and licensing rights for music and for various other like content goes up in the air, reverts to people, so we can't actually see stuff again. That's why we also don't see some movies on streaming. But it would be nice. And this is something I'd love to see the ESA get behind. I mean, yes, we have the Smithsonian where they have the video game exhibits and things get admitted, but some sort of emulation streaming system that allows us to play these games from all over, even down to the smallest one, and gives a cut to the companies. It'd be so cool. Oh, all right. So now we're going to talk about the rugby. What do the British and Irish Lions mean for you? So for those of you who don't know, rugby, British and Irish Lions the tour happens every 4 years. It's the best players from England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. And they generally go and play against Southern Hemisphere teams, the big three, which are New Zealand, South Africa, or Australia. So this summer, they're going down to South Africa in a couple of weeks, in fact, for a 3-test series. And it's basically the pinnacle of any European or any British rugby player's career to represent this. You're the best of the best of the best. And to me, it's something huge. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch it online this year. I don't know if Peacock is streaming it, which is NBC. They have the rights to the Six Nations. I don't know if it's on ESPN Plus. But the British and Irish Lions is huge. I'm so glad they renamed it the British and Irish Lions. I think the squad is pretty good, with the exception maybe of the centres. I think we're a little bit lightweight there. I think, unfortunately, losing George North, huge blow. And also Manu Tuilagi, he came good a little too late, I think. So yeah, we might be a bit light there, but I think it's a really good squad. It'll give South Africa a game. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to find some way to stream them. I watched the one for the last series, which was New Zealand, and the one before that, which was Australia. Watched them here, got up early, loved it. Yeah, look, I mean, in my, as you are right. I mean, I was cutting Rockstar some slack because I'm like, oh, are we going to get a new GTA 5? I think the difference is, and then I was talking about EA and Activision becoming one or two trick ponies. And then Rockstar only does these. But I think the difference is that there is a 3 to 4 year gap, at least, in between these games. And yes, they are doing the online versions that are doing very well, and they need to update those. But I think that the difference is we're not getting iterations every year. And plus, Rockstar is not a publisher; it's a development company. They are a dev team, and those are the things they do. I mean, they've gone a little bit off beam. Bully was very interesting. The Rockstar table tennis game, remember that one? I'd love to see GTA 1969 remastered. I think I've said that before. But you do make a great point, not Jim. Okay, so as we are running down to the end of the show, I'm going to ask you to get your last couple of questions in while I have a quick drink, and then I'm going to regale you with one last news story that made me chuckle. So, first of all, cheers. Oh, don't forget, Loki's on next week as well. Looking forward to that. I think I'll get to watch the first episode of Loki and then go to Disneyland the next day. So that's going to be fun. And yes, I'm going to be buying some merch. I'm going to be buying some awesome Star Wars, Marvel type merch because I'm a kid and I don't have enough crap. So this last story, and I saw this on Kotaku today. I don't know if you've been following this, but Quantic Dreams, the company that did Heavy Rain and Beyond Human, Detroit Become Human, they are in a little bit of legal trouble because of their toxic workplace. And they are actually suing two French outlets because they're a French company. Le Monde, which is one of the big French newspapers, and Mediapart, which is one of the big online sites in France, because they're suing them because of these stories that they ran about the toxic workplace, about how there was a whole trove of graphic images involved that had been photoshopped to include staff. And it basically is just like a boys' club. Some of it was a bit distasteful in general with regards to right-wing stuff. It was a bit of a mess. So, so basically they wanted to sue Le Monde and this other company. And so this defamation and all this sort of stuff. And the story that broke today is that David Cage, who is the main guru, if you will, he had to do his deposition, and he got very upset. So much so he stamped his feet, cried, and walked out when being asked about this toxic workplace. And I mean, this thing that they've started looks like a real fucking own goal, if you will, or a shot in the foot, because apparently it's brought to like a lot of discrepancies with regards to unethical firing process. But I just wanted to have my little bit of snark, because while I can appreciate the graphics of a David Cage game, I fucking can't stand David Cage's games. I think they are pretentious. I think they are one-trick ponies. I think they are dull. I think they are barely games at all. I think that there are Sega CD games like Night Trap that have more playability than anything David Cage has done. And so I relay this story to you just so I can say, for the record, while David Cage wants to sue Le Monde for saying that they had a toxic workplace, I think gamers should sue David Cage for saying he makes games. And it's so funny that it's turning out that this pretentious twit who said, I don't want to make games, I want to make interactive movies, is now getting hauled over the coals because of the shitty state of his company. I just want to share that because I'm a mean, vindictive bastard. And there you go. I know a lot of you will disagree with me, but I don't think I don't really care on this one. Can't stand the man, can't stand his games. I feel sorry for anybody who's had to work with him. And I'm back. Oh, look, Melchior, Carlos are in the house. All right. Any thoughts on Cyberpunk 2077 still being unlisted on the PS? No listing, because until they fix the fucking thing so that it works really well on a PS5 and works really well on a PS4. I mean, admittedly, you have to dumb it down. You have to, you have to do something about it. But it shouldn't be there. It's not in a good state. I'm lucky. I played it on PC. I'm happy. Okay. Another one from Welsh Dragon. What do you think is the most disappointingly forgotten and overlooked game from the last 10 years or so? Dead Space series and Visceral games come to mind. I mean, I never really enjoyed the Dead Space stuff, but I could appreciate them. I mean, there was some great survival horror. And on that tip, I will say that the most disappointingly forgotten game and overlooked game from my perspective over the last 10 years, Alien Isolation. Love that game. That game was as good as Colonial Marines was bad. It was poop-inducing. The level of suspense and terror, especially if you play it with the lights out and fucking headphones on, and love it. If you haven't played it, I think it's on Game Pass. It's always on sale somewhere. It's been on, it's been on the free cycle through on Epic Games. If you can play it on a big ass PC with the lights out, brown pants time. Jonathan Carr asks, and look, I am just seeing a question. I'm just clicking on it, so I get the same. I give you my honest reaction. Do you think PS5 and Xbox X will bring more new IP? You mentioning Infamous made me think that how little IP. Yeah, I mean, new IP has actually sort of like become less and less over the last couple of years. I mean, you look at Fortnite's technically new IP, PUBG, Outriders, new IP as such. I mean, we are seeing stuff. I mean, we saw Horizon Zero Dawn on the PlayStation. That was great new IP. It's interesting how there's been less new IP that's got sequels. That, to me, is the interesting thing. Horizon being, one of the exceptions rather than the rule. The games that are getting the sequels are the games that have been around, in my opinion, for 10, 15 years or so. And look, you can always correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you look at Borderlands 3, you look at the ongoing Lego stuff. What was the other one? Assassin's Creed, Fallout. I mean, Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds was great new IP. Will we get a sequel to that? I hope so. I think we actually might. That might be something that we'll get at Bethesda, at the Bethesda / Xbox thing, because obviously they bought Obsidian. And the Outer Worlds is fucking excellent. So if you haven't played the Outer Worlds, please do. Yeah, so maybe we'll get that. That'd be nice. But yes, you're right. It does seem to be getting less and less. More sequel. I mean, it's much like the box office, the movies, TV shows. Raypad says, I love Quantic Dream style. Look, I mean, they may have very stylistic games, but they're not games. I'm starving for some Cyberpunk DLC. I am starving for it too. I'm looking forward to it, but they've got to fix the damn game first. Carlos asks, what are some of the better websites that you think for news and opinions? Look, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I generally tend to, I go to Polygon. I will check out Kotaku. Bloomberg, Jason Schreier's moved there. He's doing some good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anybody to go to anymore. I used to devour this stuff daily. Now I get up and I read my sport, and I'll catch up on my footy, my rugby, and I'll catch up on current affairs and culture, movies, that sort of stuff. And then I will eventually get down to video games news, because a lot of it, doesn't really float my boat, and I'm not the niche for it. And a lot of the stuff they've done, I mean, even Kotaku doesn't even actually have a news section anymore. It's called Culture, which I'm sorry is pretentious as fuck, because you just lump news into everything with cosplay and Twitch and this, that, and the other. So, yeah, I mean, basically, I think you're better off following some people on Twitter. There are a lot of really good people out there who do some really good stuff on Twitter and talk about it. Jeff Grubb is one. And again, I apologize for butchering the names, but Tariq Musa is another one. Liana Rupert. She's a Game Informer. I mean, there's some good people who are actually talking some, sharing some really good, interesting stuff. And if you haven't checked them out, you should. Ray RPGs in the house. Yes. Well, don't worry. You can we'll be able to catch up on this one in the archive. Technique says there are a few of Xbox's studios doing new IP. I hope so. Yeah. I mean, we hear about it. It's rumored. And if that's the case, great. And hopefully it's good new IP. I'm looking forward to E3. Last year was non-existent. It was cancelled. They couldn't really cobble anything together. This is the first E3 that they're doing. They have a plan. They have people signed up. I'm looking forward to it. And as I will say to, if you have missed, and our numbers have gone up, our viewing numbers, wow, 35 people today in the live stream. That's how good it is. I am going to be streaming every day at the end of the day after all the crap press conferences. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then again on the Thursday after the EA play. So I'm going to be offering my opinion every day. I'm not going to hide it behind Patreon or a paywall or anything like that. You will get it, whether it be through Twitch or whether you get it through YouTube. I will be here. Haven't figured out the times yet because I want to basically watch, cogitate, ruminate, get my shit together, and then you'll get it pretty much cold and unfiltered every day. Which also means that if you weren't here earlier, you will have missed out on the fact that I will not be streaming next Friday. Next Friday, I'm going to be at Disneyland. Thursday and Friday, me and the missus, we're going to Disneyland for 2 days. I'm going to go to Star Wars. I'm going to go to Avengers Campus. I'm going to have alcoholic beverages at California Adventure. My wife's going to go on the Guardians of Galaxy Tower of Terror thing, and I'm going to watch outside because I can't do that ride anymore because I have a bum ticker. I did it when it was Tower of Terror, though, and that was really, really cool. So, yes, and I might just do some videoing while I'm there and perhaps do a little travelogue that I'll upload. But, yes, you won't see me next Friday, but you'll see me Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, back Thursday. 5 days of coverage, 5 days of beer. May not be an hour long, may only be 30 minutes. It depends on what they have to offer. And if they have a lot of good stuff, then I will be a happy fuzz bunny. All right. Let's look through the last questions. All right. That's an interesting thought. We will get it. I think we'll get Outer Worlds 2. Fallout New Vegas 2 is more likely than the Microsoft phones everyone. That actually isn't something that I never really thought of. That would be fucking great. I don't think we'll get a New Vegas, but I mean, they could actually set Obsidian to work on a new Fallout game. And considering that Fallout New Vegas is, with all due respect to Todd Howard, it's better than Fallout 3 and it's better than Fallout 4. Good observation. This is why I have the smartest viewers on the internet. Pontius Rodling. I feel the need to finish playing through Borderlands 3 at some point just for the sake of it, hoping there's something to redeem itself. As I said, they need to rename that Boring Lands. Sorry, I really enjoyed Borderlands 1. I love Borderlands 2. I'm so glad I only paid $17 for Borderlands 3. I got it on sale because it's boring. Boring. No, thank you. You want to have some fun in that sort of post-apocalyptic worldy thing? Play Rage 2. Way more fun. Garu says, people only care about franchises that came out when they were tweens or early 20s. That's not necessarily the case. I mean, I was in my mid-30s when I started playing Mass Effect. I'm 50. Franchises, there are franchises from my youth that I would love to see rebooted, but a lot of the things, especially over the last decade, have come in, or 15 years, have come in from my mid-30s to now. So it's not necessarily the case. The nostalgia thing also does kick in strong, and we do hanker for the things of our youth. I'll give you that, but I think that a strong franchise or a strong IP creates new fans and creates demand. That's just my opinion. Okay. I think that's it. I'm going to wind it down now. All right, so I'm going to go through and do all the usual stuff. If you don't follow me on the Twitter, please do. I am at Annoyed Gamer. I don't tweet that much, but I do tweet updates and lots of fun stuff from time to time. If you're watching on Twitch, I am Beer. Please feel free to toss me a follow. Ditto on YouTube. Follow, sub. That would be great. And then, of course, if you like what I do, I have a Patreon. And this is the QVC Home Shopping Network moment when I go, oh, look at that, the watch. Oh. I have a couple of different plans up there. I think the ones to pay attention to are the $3 and the $6 plans. This $3 plan gets you access to the Discord. Actually, I'm going to check back in the Discord because I think I actually have some. Yeah, I have a Discord question I'm going to cover off in a second. But you get access to Discord. There's several people in there. We chat from time to time. We do after show Discords. I will be doing some E3 related Discord stuff. If you want to do this, if you want to do the $6 one, that also gets you 2 live streams a month where it's just for you, never gets shared with anybody else. I take your questions and we have a great conversation. The other 2, well, one of them's got a mug in it and it's fun. The other one is just totally crazy. I just wanted to see it, put it out there for shits and giggles. But there's the link. Have a look. If you could toss me a couple of bucks a month, that would be preferable to the likes of a Twitch subscription because Twitch takes a huge chunk of money and doesn't pay out until you get to X amount, whereas Patreon is better off for me and covers everything. Anyway, I'm going to actually just share this from Boss Dooley via the Annoyed Gamer I Am Beer server on Discord. The 3 things he wants to see: a Sony event by the 26th of June. Who knows? Darksiders 4. Splinter Cell. See, now there's a title there. Splinter Cell. Wouldn't it be great if Sam Fisher came back? That would be fantastic. Remaster it. Remaster the first couple of Splinter Cell games. Oh, I still think the first one was the best. I mean, it may have been limited gameplay-wise, but it didn't get too convoluted. Plus, I helped name Splinter Cell and Sam Fisher. That's when I was working at Redstone / Ubisoft. That was fun. Splinter Cell Blacklist, yeah. No, there's. I would like to see. Yeah, it would be lovely to see Sam Fisher, but it's got to be Ironside. Although I don't know how his health is. He's going on a bit, but it would be nice, even if it was just Sam Fisher's swan song. Sam Fisher is a great video game character who deserves to be treated a lot better. And on that note, I see the numbers are going down. I think everybody's had enough. I've been going for almost 90 minutes. So I am going to go and take my feet off and take my pants off and dance around the house. Thank you so much for tuning in. You won't see me next Friday, but you'll see me next Saturday because I'm going to Disneyland. Woo! Be good. Have a great weekend. And the next time we see each other, it will be E3.